Hello, welcome to the Saroy channel. I've got a lovely letter from Jane from the Hublot County in California. So let's get started. Dear Sarah, I am writing to you about my Bigfoot experience. My name is Jane and I'm from the southern part of Hublot County in California, near to the Pacific Ocean. In this part of the world, you just need to drive down a highway and you see a lot of Bigfoot posters and even Bigfoot statues made of carved trees. So yes, Bigfoot has been on my mind for a long time because there are reminders of him everywhere. I have watched all the programs of Bigfoot and I just was so eager to have a sighting. So every year, 3 of my friends and I would go to Redwood National State Park. I felt that it was a likely spot to see a Bigfoot, but in so many ways with the man-made paths and wooden seating, I wondered if Bigfoots would keep away from all those tourist areas where people go hiking all the time. I mean, if I was a Bigfoot, I would keep away from all the visitor trails. I did love going to the park because of those ginormous redwood trees, some so beautiful and old that they have huge trunks with moss growing all over them. However, every year, over and over again, we had absolutely no sightings of a Bigfoot, and there were no visible signs of Bigfoot activity, such as snapped tree limbs or large footprints in the muddy areas. We always went to the park after it had rained, but we never went squatching at night, which may be one of the reasons why it was so hard to have a Bigfoot sighting. One day I was shopping in California and I went into one of those mystical shops where they sell all those curious things like dream catchers, essential oils, tarot cards, incense sticks, crystal pendulums, bundles of dried sage, and the list goes on. I decided to buy some essential oils and I chose helicrispin, lavender and sandalwood. The lady who served me was very friendly, and when I purchased my stuff, she gave me a little wooden carved Bigfoot as a free gift. I then told her my story about how hard I'd been trying to search for the elusive hairy man with the oversized feet. Maybe he doesn't want to be found, she said. Then she said, but you could find him with the right energy. What do you mean? I asked. Well, write him a letter telling him how much you want to meet him, or one of his kind, and then burn it and throw the ashes in your garden. You'll be sending out energy, vibration, and frequency. She proceeded to tell me that everything in the universe was made of energy, and that even Tesla had said that the secret to the universe was energy, frequency, and vibration. You need your vibration to match Bigfoot's, and that's when you'll see him, she said. Will it work? I asked. Only if you have faith, she said, and only if the creature does decide to show himself to you. I thought it was very weird, and I told my friends, and they said that people working in those mystical shops are gaga, and the lady was clearly off her head. However, the little voice in my head said, do it anyway. What have you got to lose? If you're like me and want something badly enough, you'll do it anyway, no matter how extreme or wacky it sounds. So one day I wrote Bigfoot a letter, and it read, Dear Bigfoot, beings, whoever you are, I'm longing to meet one of your kind, just to know that you are real, as I believe you are. Much love, Jane. I then burnt the letter and threw the ashes in my garden. After performing the ritual, I did feel really foolish, like a little kid sending a plea to Father Christmas in the North Pole. But what the heck, I thought. At least I've given it a shot. It was in 2018 that we returned to Redwood National Park. It was a very wet day and the forest was very misty. It kind of gave the whole place a mystical ambience, I thought. We finally found ourselves on the Ladybird Johnson Trail, and that was the place where I had my Bigfoot encounter. I told my friends I needed to pee, and I have to go now. I normally had a great bladder control, and it was unlike me to be desperate for the loo, but I was holding my legs so tightly, which was weird because I had not drunk enough to justify a full bladder. Go, said my friends, but be quick, you do not want anyone to see you. I trotted off the large path into the undergrowth towards one of those oversized redwood trees covered with moss and with a massive girth to hide behind so that no one could see me, and then I started to pee. I looked up towards my left because I felt I was being watched, and I saw him, and I knew at once who he was. It was a Bigfoot. He stood there like a statue, and I was so shocked. I just gawked at him with my mouth hanging open as if I was seeing a ghost. You see, even though I'd longed to meet this elusive being, now that he was standing before me, I was in such shock, although surprisingly enough I did not feel any fear. He was tall, but not that tall, about 6 foot, and he had brown hair covering his whole body like a bear, apart from his face and hands. His face was longish and human-like, but his mouth, eyes, and nose were different to ours. His nose was flat and his mouth was thin. He had brown eyes, and I could see the whites of his eyes as well. His arms were very long, and he had human-like hands, and his chest was broad, and his legs lean and lanky. He just looked at me for a moment, and our eyes locked in a brief stare. He then turned around, and with a huge 5-foot stride, he vanished into the woods, almost like a ghost. It was that quick. I rubbed my eyes in disbelief. Was this for real, I thought, or was I imagining things? But I knew I had seen him, and it was just such a magical moment. I felt as if I'd made some weird kind of connection with the mythical creature that many doubt even exist. I thought back to the lady in the mystical shop and wondered if it was a coincidence that I had encountered Bigfoot, or was there more to this energy thing that I had ever considered? Was it a coincidence that a letter to Bigfoot had somehow led to encounter, or was it just sheer chance? I rushed out of the tree line to tell my friends what I'd seen, and I could see by their expressions they thought I was making it all up. But my friend Annika doubted that I was telling porkies, because she said she had never ever caught me in a lie before. When I returned home that night, I performed another crazy ritual. I wrote a letter saying, "Dear Bigfoot, thank you for showing me that you exist. I do hope to see you again one day. Thank you for the encounter. Love, Jane." And then I burnt it and threw the ashes away in my garden. I do not expect you or your listeners to believe my Bigfoot account, because it sounds so wacky and way out. And if I was in your shoes, I would not believe it either. But I do know what I saw that day, and it was a Bigfoot, and so there you are, believe it or not. Either way, it's up to you, but I just thought I'd tell you my story. Thank you so much, Jane. Until next time, good night.